Hello there, and welcome to the planning for the next community challenge playthrough in Empire at War Expanded. So this is a unique style of playthrough that I do where all of the units that I have are picked by you, the viewers, and the community. So I basically have a roster of units, and people are able to pick and name units from within that list. And then during the playthrough, I'm only able to use those units. If they are destroyed, then that unit is gone and I cannot build a replacement. So I am not able to just build regular units at all, and I am entirely limited to what is submitted by the community. So the way that I picked the subset of units we're going to be using for this playthrough is putting up a form for the devs of Empire at War Expanded to fill out, and basically their votes filled out a list that is going to be randomized between, as you can see on the wheel here. So every time someone voted for a unit, that gets put into a pool, and I'm randomly selecting between them. There's also the top vote getter in each category was automatically put on the unit. So what we're going to be doing in today's video is doing the randomization, seeing what the rest of the roster is going to be. On this video, there will also be a link in the description to a Patreon post explaining how unit selection works. So there is going to be different tiers available for people who are viewers and people who are patrons, Twitch subscribers, and YouTube channel members. So if you're a patron, a Twitch subscriber, or a YouTube channel member, then you have a guaranteed submission. And to make sure that I'm not overflowing in units, otherwise there's no challenge, for viewer units, then I'll be randomly selecting a subset of those. Usually I do about 200 space and 200 ground, trying to cover as many as possible. But let's get started with the selections. We're going to be starting off with Starfighters, which the N1 Starfighter is already in. So let's hop over to the wheel and see what we get for number 1. We are going to be selecting 5 Starfighters, including the N1. So it looks like we're getting the Mankfim. So we get a Mankfim and an N1. We're Clone Wars themed so far. I'll put that in, and you'll be able to see the roster as we update it over here. Second, the V-38, which kind of looks like a TIE Phantom, but not invisible. And I guess if things are invisible, they can't really look like anything. But all right, so it's not a horrible fighter list. Could be worse. Looks like, all right, it looks like it's going to be the Mankfim again for duplicate selections. I'm just gonna we're not duplicating them. There are some categories where there are like one unit will be in 2 different categories. So that is not, we're not going to have like double entries for any of those either. All right, the I-beam. We got some pretty obscure ones, so that's exciting. That's what you hope for with these kinds of randomizations. That's what I was hoping for last time when I did fully random, and I was really thinking the team would try to mess me up. But we're really getting the duplicates here. V-38, removing that, and we're hopping back in. So because we are doing unique fighter selections for this as well, when you are submitting a unit, then you will also be able to choose the fighter types and bomber types that'll be on the unit, which I've done for some prior playthroughs as well, but I haven't done it for a while. So it should be interesting there as well. All right, so now we get bombers. I'm going to have to move away from the roster selection for that so I can copy in the bombers. All right. So we're only picking 1 bomber, and then did that mess up the... Nope. Okay. 1 bomber type coming in. We already have the missile boat, which is one of the rarest in the mod. That's what won the poll, but we have the Z-95 bomber. We got the missile boat and the Z-95 bomber. And the heavy bomber is actually kind of interesting because there's only 1 that we're picking, but 2 options tied. So we're going to be going between the Skurg and the K-Wing, which I'll just write in myself because I'm not lazy. I am lazy. All right, which one's going to win? You can only have 1. It is the K-Wing. All right, I will actually... I'll take that. I was kind of hoping for the Skurg, TBH. All right, let's go for the Corvettes now. So the winning Corvette was the HK Probot, which we've used a little bit in our Imperial playthrough that's going on right now, or finishing right now. Or it might have just finished. I'm not sure if I've posted that yet. But we have, for our second Corvette, we get the Diamond, it looks like. All right. Some good point defense. We actually almost got to the Syzygos. Next up, for number 3 out of 5, we have the Raider 2. All right. So we actually, between the HK and the Diamond, we actually do have some good anti-fighter, and now with the Raider 2, we've got something that's a little bit more anti-ship oriented, I think. Raider 1, I believe, is the anti-fighter oriented one. I can never remember. But the Buccaneer, that's another anti-ship one. That's actually really good. This, I'm actually really happy with this section so far. Our Corvettes are gonna be choice. If we can get like a good tender. Well, hard sell tenders are fighter only, but we couldn't win them all. It depends. That one, it's going to depend on how our fighter or how our carriers end up. Because if we end up with a good carrier setup, then that could be really useful. If we end up with really bad carriers, that will not actually be useful. All right. So now we get into the light frigates. This is the longer section. We're picking 7 of them. And the one we have already is the Acclimator Super Cruiser, which is on the heavier end of it. But it looks like we are getting a Quasar. Okay, so talking about fighters, we get a good carrier, which we did have in the last challenge, so that's a little disappointing, you know. And a Vengeance frigate. Did we have those? No. I think we actually had them 2 challenges ago. So no fighters, but another thing that'd benefit from a tender if we want to get a nice little tender. Acclimator 2. All right, we're going heavy on the acclimators. This is a fairly damage heavy frigate roster. Acclimator 2s are pretty fantastic for putting out damage. What I'm going to be a bit concerned about is our tankiness. Are we going to have anything that can defend tank for us? But Lupus, not bad. Still, I'd take like a Galleon if you want to send me a Galleon, want to send me a Nebulon B tender. Looks like we're going to duplicate. Nope, we're getting the broadside cruiser. So that's actually even more. I think we're kind of ending up in like a Maldrude carrier, or a Maldrude faction here. What's next? Escort carrier? Nope, twin well immobilizer. Okay, so we do have an interdictor on the low end, which will be good for preventing bombing as well. Though we do have the diamond for really good point defense, so we don't need it the most. But oh, we almost went through the pelt to support. Nebby tender. Okay, we take those. We take those. So not bad. So for our roster so far, in the light frigates, we have Acclimator Supercruiser, Quasar, Vengeance Frigate, Acclimator 2, Lupus, Broadside, Twin Well Immobilizer, and Nebulon B Tender. So that's pretty good. Going into the heavy frigates, the one that we already have that won the most votes in the submissions, we have the Assault Frigate Mark II, which we had that one in the last community challenge as well. Much like with the Recusant Dreadnought, the capital that we have. So between that and the Quasar, there are some duplicates from our last community challenge playthrough if you've seen that one. But next is the Katana Dreadnought. All right. So some more good anti-ship stuff. Just general all-around damagers. We got the MTC support. That's pretty good too. Oh no, never mind. Neutron cruiser. That's actually really good. We can get a couple neutrons in there. Oh. Like, we're gonna have a lot of siege power. If we can get some neutrons and some broadsides in there, along with some Nebulon B-tenders mixing in with our Corvettes, that could work out really well for us. Oh, we almost ended up with a Shree. That would have been fun. But instead we get the Space Arc, which, you know, that's also fun. But did I have that in the last one, though, too? I don't think so. I think we had dragons in the last one. But that kind of fits in with some of what we have already. So we don't have the widest range of ships so far in the heavy frigate range, though the MC-80 Justice, I haven't used that one much, but I think it's a bit more carrier-y. So if we could get another carrier in this range, that'd actually be good. Battle Dragons would be good too, but we've used those fairly recently. Chaff Destroyer, once again, in the same kind of damage profile as a lot of our other heavy frigates. Like, a lot of our heavy frigates are doing similar things here, which is not fantastic for our usage. But Captor, that's good. All right. I mean, Auxilia would have been... No. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. I'll take that. It does diversify us a little bit. So that's it's not that the ships are bad, it's just we have a lot of role duplication in that section. So we'll move on to capitals and see what we can get. Oh, you're not supposed to be there. This one doesn't count. Have to wait for that to stop before I can... Alright. That was a duplicate anyways. We almost had a Goblet of Fire moment there. Alright, what are we looking at for our second capital? Recusant Dreadnought is our first... Oh no. The Peltist and Aggressor got a lot of votes, so there's a good chance we have, like, siege capitals, and that's it. But, you know, we'll... If we get the Aggressor, that is, once again... Miss Carrier. Okay, that's actually good. We are lacking in some fighters. So... We've at least got something at most levels for that, though. Looks like we're going to duplicate on the Mist Carrier, so that's going to be a reroll. We got 2 capitals left, though. All the applause bothers me from this. For a duplicate. Okay, this is really good. Kidalbe for some tankiness. Mist Carriers are also in that category. There's like 7 different ways to spell Kidalbe. I don't know which one we even use in game. But, you know, we're good. Ascendancy, Aphodio, Endurance. Okay, more carriers. So a lot of our fighters are probably going to be coming from our capital level, though we don't necessarily know what our distribution of units is going to look like, because that's going to be entirely up to you guys. We could get everything that's submitted as a Kidalbe, and then be the fact that we technically have Recusants and Peltis in the roster doesn't matter. So it's still a little up in the air as to what we could end up with. But we're gonna get 2 battle cruisers. The first battle cruiser, other than the communications battle cruiser, is going to be the Providence Dreadnought. All right, so more decent fighter carrier capabilities there. Again, not the tankiest roster we've ever had. So I'm a little bit worried about durability, and we're probably going to have to be careful with engagement that we pick. We're getting the tag on top of that. So, like, we got some chonkiness. And the Superstar Destroyer that we do have, since it's only 1, we took the highest vote for that that is the Armada, which I actually do think is the same one we had, or one of the ones we had in the last playthrough. But we're only going to have one Superstar Destroyer type in this playthrough. I don't know if we'll end up doing 2 potential instances of it. I'll have to see. But yeah, so we've got an Armada. We're gonna head into our ground roster so far. So our space roster, just to look that over quickly, I'm happy with our fighter and bomber choices. Happy with our corvettes. Happy with our light frigates. Like we got a interdictor in there. We actually only have that twin well interdictor, so it's good that we got that one. The heavy frigates, I'm not thrilled with the variety. Like individually, I'm happy with them all, but in terms of like what it does for a fleet, I would have preferred a little bit more variety in there. Capitals, I think that's a decent mix. If we'd ended up with like the aggressor instead of the Cadalbe, if we just swapped out 2 Zan Consortium capital ships for each other, then I'd be really stressing. But I think the Cadalbe really rounds that out pretty well. The battle cruisers, happy with those. I don't think there was a particularly bad setup. We could have ended up there with the communications battle cruiser already in because we're kind of looking for tankier stuff. So the Providence Dreadnought, probably not the best for our purposes here, but I think it's still all right. I was really hoping for the Maelstrom, if I'm being honest, but we'll use a lot of that in the Republic playthrough. So let's get on to the ground units. For the infantry, the top vote getter was the armored huts, or were the armored huts. So we already got those, and those are huts in armor. Oh shit! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! There's advanced options on here. Oh well. Oh, do I need to like sign in for that? Oh, never mind. I'll see what that is at some point, because that might have been much easier than what I spent my afternoon doing. All right. So we're getting three more options for our infantry. Our first one is the Stormtrooper B1 battle droid. We got armored huts. We have B1 battle droids. I was surprised how many votes the B1s got. Like the New Republic infantry, both of them got 0 votes from the team. B1s got like 5 or 6. Yeah. 6 or 7, I think, even. Guardian Protector. Okay, so that's pretty good. That one's going to be a bit harder for me to code in because they don't really exist as a buildable unit already. But I knew what I was getting into putting those on going in, so that's fine. The second one, the Raptors, or our final one actually, are Zinja's Raptor Troopers, which are not the Siruvi. But yeah, that's a pretty solid infantry setup. So we have a Revan's Revenge unit already, the Mandalorian Swoop, for our specialized infantry, our first specialized infantry. And we're gonna get one more specialized infantry type. So that's commandos, bikes, whatever else. Dwarf Spider droids would actually be kind of choice here, but Storm Commandos are good too. Because yeah, I guess we're kind of lacking in anti-infantry. No, we're not. No, this is all pretty well-rounded, to be honest. Or Stormtrooper, Storm Commando, and I can not type. Okay, so that gets us on to our light vehicles, which did have a tie from the team votes. And since there's multiple slots, we don't need to do a tiebreaker between that. We just got the INT4 and whichever the other one was, Corporate Alliance Artillery, I think, automatically in there, which is actually really nice because I didn't have any artillery in the last community challenge. So we've already guaranteed we have at least one air unit. I'd like a gunship as well, but all right, we got the Super Hall 2. Let's check if that's finished, if that's what I'm thinking of. That's I want something a bit tankier in this category at some point. Chariot LAV. All right. Not the most exciting. I'm not going to pretend to be excited about that. It's a Chariot Lav, cool. They're good anti-vehicle. some nice quick transport, so it's good for territorial control. I'm not upset about it, but I'm not exciting. Okay, Hailfires. Hailfires are fun. That's good for a lot of zone control. What I'm just worried about right now is what we're going to have, especially at the higher levels, because these are not going to be the tankiest for us. All right, looks like we're going to get the Pongita, actually. So there's actually a good amount of hut representation in this playthrough, which will be around the same time as the other hut playthroughs going on. But for the heavy vehicles, the AAC-3 and the Super Tank are going in. I need to get rid of this because they are already in there. I might have actually made a mistake in which one I assigned, but I don't think so. So, oops. We'll just go with it. And if I need to make a change, I will make a change and put a note on the screen. But we are getting, oops. We're getting 3 more from this. We're getting the T4B. No, 2M repulsor tank actually won, which again, if we're looking for some tankier stuff somewhere, it's not coming yet in those. AAC-3 is a new unit as well, so that's exciting. Magna Tridroid. Okay, that's slow, but relatively tanky. Good damage, good tankiness on that. Bad speed. Though the rest of our roster is really fast. Alright, and for gunships, lats are a classic. You don't complain about a lat. I mean, I would have rather had like a VAT or something, but just because I like them more. But, you know, we take those. And finally, for the heavy vehicles, where we have probably the best chance at getting another Revenge option with the Mandalorian wheel tank. But we're getting 2 more. We have the A5 Juggernaut. And let's see. We have the... Oh, there it is. Mando wheel tank. So that's pretty good. Like, with the A5 being really fast, also fairly defensive, the Mando wheel tank has a lot of damage. It's slow. It's tanky. That's actually pretty solid. And I'm really glad we got the Corporate Alliance artillery in this, because it looks like we're probably not getting artillery. All right, Mando wheel tank duplicate. So let's do a reroll. And yeah, if I was wrong about which of the heavy vehicles are supposed to be in there, I'll just add the other thing in. Oh, looks like we're getting a Spamag. All right, so we're getting 2 different artillery types. But there we go. That's our whole roster. If you want to look at the forms and the links in the description, that'll take you to the Patreon page, like I said, and that'll have all the information on getting a unit submitted. I would like to have this started by mid-December, so there it's something where the setup is a bit more intense, but should be fun. Another note, I guess, is that people who are at the Sun Crusher and the Senate tier on Patreon are able to pick a custom skin for their units. So I do custom textures that we use for the playthrough, so people can see all their fancy, all their own fancy choices. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you're looking forward to the playthrough, and hope to see you next time.